I always kind of say like the same aspect. So like we get calls all day long where it is someone that's looking to do an extension or looking to do whatever the project might be. Something that would require permits specifically. If it's a bathroom, I can tell you exactly what it's going to cost without even looking at 90% of the time, just because it's rinse and repeat, and it's simple enough. But like for an extension, any company that you call is going to be able to give you like a general roundabout until you have architectural plans. And if it's a property that you're looking at buying and you haven't bought it yet, you don't have architectural plans yet.
You're tuning into the Dream is Real podcast. If you're looking to buy, sell, or invest in New York real estate, you are in the right place. I am JD, your host, and I'm here with Tyler Barron of Reliable Home Remodeling. Welcome, Tyler.
Welcome. Thank you.
Glad you are here. So obviously we know with any real estate transaction that there is sometimes work to be done in and around the house. Tell us a little bit about Reliable Home Remodeling and what you do.
Sure. So we are a remodeling, or specifically interior remodeling company. We're based in Patchogue on Main Street. And we specialize in kitchens, bathrooms, basements, extensions, anything related to renovation. Yeah.
So we'll start there because I know there's really two sides of the business as well. We'll start on the construction and remodeling side. Are there any trends right now around projects that you see homeowners really leaning toward?
As far as design, style, type of project, yes. So, I mean, everything is white and gray. Everything is shaker white cabinets. Everything's just getting more and more modern. I mean, it's kind of the same exact thing that we do every single day, even in here. This is Sterling Oak Life Proof. I've put it in 1,000 houses. It's super, super popular. So, like, the scheme of what people are doing today is very similar. And I don't think we're going to kind of get away from that. Everything is just getting more and more modern, which is not really anything more modern than white and gray. I think we're just going to get into more like home automation, later on down the line to get even more modern. But white and gray tends to be the 95% color scheme of what everyone is doing.
Is that a fairly recent trend, or how long have you seen that?
4 years.
About 4 years?
Yeah, about 4 years, somewhere right around there. Prior to that, it was a lot more like beige and natural. But within 4 to 5 years, it's transitioned to literally 90% plus of the more modern gray color scheme.
Across the scope of all types of projects, you're seeing that in kitchens, you're seeing that in bathrooms?
Yeah, kitchens, bathrooms, paint, siding, almost everything. Yeah.
All right. Well, it seems like the public is simplifying a little bit there. Let's talk a little bit about the aesthetics of the house. When somebody's looking to sell a home, obviously you take an inventory. You live in a house all the time, and then all of a sudden you have folks coming to the house. You're showing it. Where would you say is the best place to start to increase the value of your home, or let's call it the sellability of the home?
Sure. Yeah, no, definitely. So we work with tons and tons of agents when it comes to that aspect, as far as, people preparing the house for sale and looking to, invest minimally to get a better upside when they do sell. Other than the super simple stuff like, paint and cleanliness, some like upgrade aspects is definitely lighting. Hi-hats. A lot of the older houses have a switch that goes to an outlet with a lamp in all of the bedrooms. If you have an attic, it's very quick, simple, cheap, and easy to put hi-hats and add lighting throughout the house. That's definitely one that would increase value more than what you're going to be putting into it. I would say aside from that, if it's, super, super outdated, of course, kitchens, bathrooms. But, with any house, it kind of, you got to figure out if it's worth putting in enough to try to double what you're getting out of it or sell it as is. Every transaction is definitely a little bit different.
Got it. So there are things that you can do within the kitchen versus a complete overhaul.
Yeah. So even like today, it's starting to become like a trend and very, very popular. And it's not really something that we specifically do, but painting cabinets. Tons and tons of like, painting companies now are getting into painting cabinets where you're taking an old outdated oak, like wood kitchen and making it look close to brand new, just with painting.
So now you can't just use any type of paint to paint a cabinet, though.
It depends on the finish that's already on the cabinets that you get, the bonding and adhesion aspect. You could DIY it and roll it and it'll look significantly better. The like professional way is sanding, putty, spraying, and tons of prep work. It depends on how nice of a finish you're looking to go for, but like you could at a bare minimum DIY it and just paint cabinets and make it, significantly more modern for the cost of paint.
Are you a homeowner who is looking to expand your home so you have enough space for everything you need in your home? Or do you want to renovate because the interior just doesn't work for your needs anymore? Or are you someone who's looking for a property, but nothing that you've been looking at really fits what you need? Well, my name is Catherine Serrano Sosa. I'm the founder of Rooted Architecture Studio, and I can help you bring those renovations and adjustments to life. At Rooted Architecture Studio, we focus on creating meaningful, inclusive, client-centric designs for homeowners and investors. We walk you through the whole process of designing construction and making sure that you understand what's going on, but take away all the layers so you can sit back and just focus on the deliverables of what we're designing. We make sure that your non-negotiables are integrated and your wants and needs are integrated to the best of our abilities. So if you are looking to do anything that I just discussed or just have ideas that you might want to talk about what the possibilities may be, give us a call and reach out through social media as well, and we'll be happy to help you. And if you're looking for a new property, make sure to connect with Dream Select Realty. They're the right people to help you find the right property for you and make sure that your needs are integrated. Or if we're renovating, we can all collaborate together to bring that vision to life.
What about, let's say the homeowner wants to invest in the kitchen. What are some of the areas that they could start? Would the cabinets be one?
So when it comes to kitchens, there's only so much. I mean, you got countertops, backsplash, cabinets, appliances. That's pretty much your entire kitchen. So, if you're not going to touch the cabinets, if they're older and outdated, it might not be worth really doing anything else. You don't really want to do a new backsplash and countertop on top of an old kitchen cabinet that someone's probably going to rip out anyway. So like on my perspective on that, it would either be, possibly paint cabinets and try to spruce things up and do like a minimal aspect if we're talking about like before selling, or even just moving in and not having the budget to do it right away, or doing basically a full renovation. I mean, it doesn't really make sense to do half, most of the time, especially from a spelling perspective, because the last thing you want to do is put a bunch of money into something that people are going to end up ripping out anyway.
Right. So as far as countertops go, do you see any trends right now with any certain types of stone that are more popular than others?
Yeah, no, definitely. So pretty much almost every single house tends to be like quartz. If you're doing kitchen islands or overhangs for seating and stuff like that, quartz has significantly more strength than marble, granite, or pretty much anything else that's out there. So as far as like doing an island that you could sit around and larger overhangs, they're always going to kind of recommend quartz. And then naturally, quartz is more uniform. Whereas like, granite's got like the, blotchiness and looks like a rock. You get clear, white, which is what everyone is looking for, out of quartz. So that's 90% of houses ends up being quartz.
And when you say strength, are you talking more durability or?
Yeah, so durability as far as the surface is one thing, but also strength as far as the stone itself being able to do an overhang on an island. So like super popular right now is to have a 8-foot island and only like 4 feet of cabinets. So that 4-foot overhang can fit 5 people or 6 people around. Sometimes even replace kitchen tables.
Let's shift over to bathrooms for a second.
Sure.
Obviously, that's an important part of the house. What are some tips that you can give a homeowner or prospective homeowner on taking a look at a bathroom renovation?
Sure. So bathrooms there's a lot that you could do. If we go back to like the aspect of trying to spruce stuff up before a sale or right after buying, you're kind of a little bit more limited with a bathroom. You can't paint the tile. You can't, really do too much other than changing out a vanity, a toilet, and, maybe painting the walls. I mean, one thing that we do see that's super common and we'll do all the time is like the floor that's in here, just like a vinyl, plank, luxury vinyl plank is what they typically call it. Doing that right over the existing tile in the bathroom. It's waterproof. So there's no problem with doing it. It's super cheap. You could do the whole
I was going to
entire
say it's a
bathroom
relatively
for,
reasonable cost.
Yeah, $3 a square foot for material and a 4x8 bathroom.
Versus
5x8
what
bathroom.
is the differentiation between that and a tile? I guess tile can go.
So
it depends on the tile.
Tile
right?
ranges a lot. The price of the material is the same, but the labor's that's the difference. I could go into a bathroom and tile or put the vinyl plank right over tile in 2-3 hours for $200 of material. Whereas tile, you kind of have to rip everything out, take up the toilet, take up the vanity, and start from scratch. So the labor is significantly more. But if we're trying to stay like somewhat on the topic of like simple renovation, whether it be to buy before selling or right after buying without spending a ton to rip everything out from scratch, you can very cheap and easily put a vinyl floor right over the bathroom existing tile and change the whole look.
Do you see a lot of sellers going that route?
Yeah, absolutely. So, I mean, a lot of sellers doing, it all kind of depends on the real estate agent. A lot of the times they're going to recommend repainting certain rooms or doing this, and this prior to sale, just to try to bring the highest amount possible. That's something that I think people should definitely recommend more. If you get a super old, outdated floor, it's very, very cheap, quick and easy to put a floor like this right over the top of it. And it does completely change the look of the bathroom.
And that type of material that you're recommending, right? That's called LVP, right?
Yep, luxury vinyl plank.
Most, if not all, are water resistant or waterproof, right?
Yeah, they're all waterproof. So, another common misconception I'll go on, really quick on that topic is basements. People always typically will put this in a basement because basements are naturally kind of damp. So it is waterproof, but that kind of really means like the surface. So like if you're in a bathroom and you have water on the floor after a shower and you leave it there, it's fine. It's not gonna, swell up like wood or the old like Pergo laminate floors. But if you have a flooded basement and water gets underneath the whole thing from like a flood, it still has to come out. But it is waterproof as far as cleaning it and spilling water on the surface.
Got it. And we'll get to that piece as well because that's
sure.
also an area that you could help with if there was some sort of a flood, some sort of a mold issue. But I want to stay on the construction side for a few more minutes here. What are some other areas outside of the kitchen and the bathroom that you find would be fairly important to the real estate transaction?
I guess on the topic of real estate transactions, whether it be, right before a selling, typically paint any sheetrock, like clear damage or simple to repair type things before selling. But I mean, there's so much you could do. It depends on the specific house, whether it does make sense to, if you're going on the selling aspect of, putting enough money into it where you're essentially flipping the house that you already own, where you're putting in, let's just say 50,000, but you're going to get 100 out of it more, having it, already be renovated.
Right.
So, I mean, I would ask the agent if they think it makes sense to put however much money into it to get more out of it, sell it as it is. Every transaction is going to be a little different.
Nick Cesarini, Weatherstone Mortgage is proud to partner with Dream Select Realty. We understand in this environment how hard it is to find the right home. You really need the right realtor and the right financial tools to be able to make that dream come true. Please reach out to either Dream Select Realty or Weatherstone Mortgage to start the process of that dream.
So let's talk to the buyer for a second, who is looking at either the fixer-upper or one that they walk into and say, "Hey, you know, I've got big plans for this new home." What are some of the things that they should consider? Let's say, for instance, wanting to convert a garage or do an extension. Obviously, that type of work it requires permits, requires a good bit. So what type of advice could we give someone who says, all right, I'll buy a house as it is, and then I'll do the work afterwards?
Sure. So I would say always expect to spend more than you think. That's one thing. You know, with us, like when we quote a project, it's 99.9%. It's staying the same throughout, unless you decide to change something or add something.
Sure.
There's a lot of companies that will price jobs, you know, lower and then tack on a bunch of add-ons that they knew were going to come anyway, just to increase the price of the project.
Right. So you're
come in
saying
with a lower bid to start.
Work with a company that obviously the price can change with change orders, but
Sure.
but if the scope of the project doesn't change and the price goes up, that's an issue.
Depending on what it is.
Okay.
But you know, one thing that we do see very often, that's why, like, I think even more than reviews, referrals are probably the best. We do compete with a lot of companies all the time where, you know, their sales aspect is to price jobs 25% lower and then know they're going to run into this, and this, where they can make up that difference later on. Whereas if you get a company that, you know, puts everything up right in the beginning, it could definitely save you a lot, you know, later on down the line. But as far as, you know, extensions or second stories or garage conversions or stuff that would require permits, if that's, you know, something you're looking to do and that's the reason you're buying the house, I would definitely check with a company that works in that area, whether it be town of Brookhaven, Islip, or anywhere, you know, in between. As far as, you know, wait times for permits, stuff takes, you know, a lot longer. If you're going to be getting permits, you're going to require separate licensing for everything. So a separate licensed electrician, separate plumber, GC, and depending on, you know, what the scope of the project is, sometimes other things. So it's, you know, getting permits on stuff definitely does take a while. It does cost a lot. There is architectural plans. You do have to deal with the town. So like it almost always, with everything all put together, it does end up going over what you would expect it to cost.
How quickly in that process should they engage with a remodeling company like yours?
After or before buying the property?
Oh, that's a good question. So let's start with, I'm looking at a property.
Sure. So I always kind of say like the same aspect. So like we get calls all day long where it is someone that's looking to do an extension or looking to do whatever the project might be. Something that would require permits specifically. If it's a bathroom, I can tell you exactly what it's going to cost without even looking at 90% of the time, just because it's rinse and repeat, and you know it's simple enough. But like for an extension, any company that you call is going to be able to give you like a general roundabout until you have architectural plans. And if it's a property that you're looking at buying and you haven't bought it yet, you don't have architectural plans yet. So like the best you can get is a general idea of what construction's probably going to cost. I would say your you know kind of best friend in that scenario, other than a contractor that's going to give you a roundabout, is really the architect that's going to be pulling the permits and someone that knows what they're doing. Because you know I can't tell you how many times we've run into someone that wants to do a certain type of project and then has to go for a variance or isn't allowed to because of setbacks or zoning or whatever it happens to be. Now, one other thing on that as well that becomes a common, I don't want to say problem, but unforeseen expense, I should say, is a lot of the times with adding an extension, now having to do that IA septic system, which is very expensive. We don't do them, but I've from as far as I know, they're typically over 30,000 plus. And if you're adding square footage to the house, you a lot of times have to update the septic system. You have no choice but to do that, and it's a big expense that if you forget, could definitely add a huge chunk that you weren't expecting.
And is that related specifically to the livable square footage of the house versus the size of the septic system? And is that only Suffolk County, or is it Suffolk and Nassau?
Suffolk and Nassau. And well, unless you're on sewers. So sewers is different,
Sure.
but assuming you have a septic system cesspool. Yes, it goes off of the living, square footage or how many bedrooms you have of what size the cesspool has to be. But it's, becoming where any renovation that's adding square footage to the house, they're making you update it.
Got it. So let's pivot a second to with the time we have left, because
Sure.
now we're talking about extensions, we're talking about construction, we're talking about opening things up.
Yep.
And with that definitely comes the potential. I don't want to steer anybody away, but the potential of finding things that you didn't realize was there, right? Finding mold, finding water damage. These are some areas that your company, Reliable Home Remodeling, can come in and help with as well, correct?
Sure. So on the topic of like water damage and mold and that type of stuff, we kind of specifically specialize with insurance claims.
Okay.
So not gonna really play a part during a renovation, hopefully, but most of the time after a pipe burst and a remediation company's already been there, already gutted the place. Now, most of the remediation contractors that are doing the mitigation right after a flood, or right after a fire or whatever else, do the mitigation and then leave. And then it's up to you to get bids from, your insurance company is going to say, get 10 quotes, get 2, 3, 4 quotes or whatever. And everyone just writes up a PDF quote that doesn't, deal with insurance companies on a regular basis. They submit them all to the insurance company. And then I'm sure you've heard of a million times where, what should be $100,000 project, the insurance company wants to pay almost nothing for, $10, $15, $20,000, and it's not enough to cover it. That's kind of where we specifically come in, because all insurance related work has to go through Xactimate. If you don't write a Xactimate estimate, which is like the quoting system for the insurance world, it's based off of exact square footages and exactly what has to be replaced from what was there prior from the insurance perspective. So if you're just writing or getting random quotes from general contractors, I don't want to say they're not viewed seriously in a way, but there is no way to justify it, because to remove and replace 5 square feet of drywall has a dollar amount in Xactimate. If you get 10 quotes, 10 different companies can charge 10 different numbers based off of what they want to make. So from like the insurance perspective, after mitigation and on the rebuild aspect, a lot of homeowners end up getting basically screwed over on, from their insurance companies just by not having a contractor that deals with insurance.
Got it. And that is something that you and the team at Reliable are very well versed with.
Yep. That's about 50% of our business is insurance related work.
Hi, my name is Tyrone. I'm the owner and trainer here at Fly Fitness. We work with children of all ages, sports-specific training, soccer, basketball, lacrosse, football, you name it, we do it here. We also work with the beginner, the person that has never been in the gym before. We get you from point A, point B, and we take you through the alphabet of training. We also do rehab, ankles, back, knees, shoulders. The older we get, the more fragile we are. So those things that I just mentioned, those are things that we're definitely going to need help with. That's what we specialize in here at Fly Fitness. Come and join us.
So let's talk preventative with the few minutes that we have left here. Let's say you're looking to buy a house, or even, again, you're looking to sell your house and you haven't looked around that much. You've lived there for that long. What are some signs of that you can look out for if you're looking to purchase a home that may show some underlying issues that would need to be addressed, around mold, around water damage?
Sure. So that is majority going to land on your home inspector, assuming that you get a home inspection. Their goal is to basically point out everything throughout the house, good or bad. And then all of the bad things that were for a electrician, a plumber, whatever it happens to be based off of whatever the property may need. A huge thing with that is mold. I think it's something that should, soon kind of get added to every home inspection. It's just mold, like air sampling, is something that you don't really know about or see. That is a common problem, and a lot of times people after buying do run into mold issues that they were unaware of without doing air sampling.
Got it. So asking for air sampling specifically could get in front of you discovering it, post transaction.
Definitely. Yeah, I think that should be a standard in every home inspection, and currently it's not.
That's very good information. And is there any other advice that you could give a homeowner, maybe something that we haven't covered as we close out here, if they're thinking about buying or selling their home in regards to either the construction side or also, I guess the remediation side?
Yeah, definitely. So my best advice when it comes to that would be, depending on your scenario, if you have liquid, money to be able to do this, then I would say definitely before selling any house, see if it's worth putting money into it to get more money out of it. A lot of the times people just sell the house as is, and they could have renovated a kitchen, a bathroom, or the whole house, and the end of the day profited an extra 10% or whatever it may be.
So what are some ways to explore that?
Sure. So I would say prior to selling, if you're already listed or looking to sell your house, give us a call. I'll definitely make recommendations based off of what the house looks like currently, anything that maybe need to be done or should get done or could get updated that might bring more money to the to the table when you do go to sell. And on that aspect, when it comes to selling, it's really about putting more money in your pocket. So you might spend 50 and get 100 out of it.
Awesome. And how would they get a hold of you so that they can start that process?
Sure. So just look up Reliable Home Remodeling. We are in Main Street in Patchogue. The phone number for anyone watching, 631-530-1515. We hope to hear from you soon.
Awesome. Thanks very much. Glad you came in today.
Yeah.
Thanks for tuning in to the Dream is Real podcast. If you're looking to buy, sell, or invest in New York real estate, right, this is the place to keep coming back. Check us out at dreamselectrealty.com. You can find us on Instagram and TikTok at dreamselectrealty, on X at dreamselecthome. And if you want to be part of the broadcast, go to hometeam at dreamselectrealty.com. We'll see you again soon.